Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Four Corners Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Valley Uno.
Good morning. This is Tucson Shakur.
Good afternoon. I'm Diesel, Locomotive.
Good afternoon. It's Miss My My.
Today we'll be covering a hot topic, something that I think all of us can relate to. Some of us even been on the receiving end of it, and it's going to be police brutality. So there's a lot of information to cover on this one, a lot of different aspects and how we can look at this and how it impacts us as individuals and our communities as well.
Yes.
I think it's a
It's
good
ridiculous.
topic. Not just it's something that never has gone away. It's been going on for years, and hopefully we got to try to find a solution at some point or a new way of doing things.
Right, most
Well,
definitely.
I don't see how that's going to happen when the police majority are of the Caucasian race, and the Caucasian race instantly when they see someone black, they're definitely have a prejudice towards that black person.
hmm and I mean, it's crazy. We touched a little bit on this before. It ain't necessarily about that. I mean, that is a tremendous factor, but as we see with the Tyree Nichols case, that it wasn't a white person involved in that at all, So
Oh no, that
it
was power.
it really comes down to a mentality that seems to be synonymous with a police badge.
Yes. They feel like they have power. Like they
I don't
can't be
know. I
touched.
believe in the subliminal shit when it comes to that. I feel like the cops, all these cop shows and these cop movies and all that, the way they portray black people on TV, the way we portray ourselves on TV, I think uh, we're made targets more than we actually should be because of the way it's all, the grand scheme, so to
hmm
speak.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about is far as how did police come about? What was where they originated? What was the reason for policing in the first place? And then there's also we need to define what actual police brutality is so we can try to dig into the understanding of it.
It's
hmm
against the law to hit a handcuffed suspect.
Definitely.
We know that.
Yeah.
Well, in 1838 is when police first got an association or organized a policing.
Now, was that when under the slave patrol, or is that when the slave patrol was actually morphed into what we now call the police? What you talking
Yes, yes,
about?
that's
Okay.
when it
So
was.
are we saying that it was an organization that already existed that then changed its name to policing in order to make it okay and take
Right.
the hood off of it?
I can't remember what I read, but but hey, some days it be like that. But I know and they between 1830 and 1840, that's when it first started getting this formation, and I think it was because they were trying to police black people. You know, once they running from the Jim Crow, and they had to have some sort of way to round keep the black people in line.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, and this is, it's a long-standing issue because uh, there's been corruption in the police organization basically since its inception. You know what I mean? And I don't think that that's something that's ever going to completely go away
Yeah.
because you're going to always have the human factor. And when you factor in humans, everything negative comes along with that, potentially, you know, comes along with that.
I was watching this show on PBS yesterday, and this psychologist was doing a test on the little kids, with these dolls to see what doll they would pick. It's been brainwashed into everyone's head that black people are bad and white people, well, that's what they're trying to put, that black people are bad and white people are better, you know. And when any white person in not very few and far between, as soon as they see a black person, they instantly think something negative. Okay, instantly. And
But on the flip side, it's the same with our people, though. We look at white people a certain way too.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that goes to the point that she's making, that as much as we would like to try to deny it, we live in a racist society. Period.
yes,
There's no way to get around that, and we see the effects of that in the police system, in the justice system. Hell, we see it in our own house. You know what I mean? And it's something that has to be at least admitted before we can address it. You can only manage what you're willing to measure. So we have to at least admit to ourselves that whether I like it or not, something about me is racist. And if we don't do that, it translates into different facets of our life, just like we see with the police brutality issue.
So with police brutality for 2022, 1,176 individuals were killed, making it the deadliest year on record. The U.S. killed more compared to any other industrialized democracy, and the numbers were people of color. So we know that.
Yeah,
but they didn't just start. They didn't start taking data for killings until 2019, because man, it was. I'm pretty sure it was many years before that where the numbers were higher.
Well,
but they didn't start taking data from that until 2019.
For us as blacks, we've been had the numbers accumulated in our head. We've been knew the numbers because every time it happens, we're like, damn, that's number 50,000. Like shit. So we know it's out of hand for damn sure. We know that without the statistics of it. We could think. I was thinking about Rodney King the other day. They beat this man's face paralyzed, and beat the living shit. Even though he was doing like a high speed chase and whatnot and all that stuff, to the level of like, I mean, just tase the nigga, put the nigga in the car, and it's over. All that old extra shit they be doing, that shit be out of line, especially on a traffic stop. How does a traffic stop come down to somebody getting fucking killed?
It happens so many. I have a few of them wrote down. It happens too many times.
That shit don't make no type of sense in my mind.
It's senseless. There's no way to wrap your mind around it. Police brutality, what is included in police brutality is asphyxiation, beatings, shooting, improper takedowns, and unwarranted use of tasers. So that's already roughing somebody up. You're going over and beyond from the game.
Yeah, human beings aren't indestructible. And a lot of these videos I see, you'd have to be indestructible to not get fucked up.
Yeah.
I think that's the part. So I'm not sure where you got your information, mine, but it sounded very similar to what I had looked up from a research group that maintains a database of reported deaths at the hand of law enforcement, and the numbers you shot out were identical to mine. The wording that you used was slightly different, but the numbers were identical. And this is something that they've been tracking since 2013. And it says that it's an average of 3 people per day that are being killed by the police. And the reason why that was such a big deal in my eyes is because it said in 2022, 11% of the killings were in cases which no offense had been alleged, meaning there's not even a claim that this person had committed something.
While they were robbing a bank, wasn't while they were shooting somebody.
Exactly.
Another 9% were mental health or welfare checks.
Sad.
Crazy.
Very
8% involved traffic violations, and 18% involved other allegations of non-violent offenses. So it goes back to what we was talking about with the mentality.
How
There's a
you showing up to
mindset
a
that's
traffic
associated
stop?
with policing.
Yeah, how are you showing up to a traffic stop or a welfare check, or knowing that you're dealing with somebody who's mentally ill or going through something? You're not a professional, so you're just gonna say, you know what? I don't give a fuck about this person having mental issues or whatever. I'm gonna pop a cap in his ass, and that's gonna be that. Or I'm gonna beat this
Mhm.
motherfucker up, or I'm a, and it kind of shows that their mentality is whatever they're teaching the cops, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad. Whatever they're teaching them to do that shit.
Yes, they are. And they tell them to shoot to kill,
Yeah,
not shoot to mar or stop, shoot to kill.
yeah. They're basically telling them your life is on the line. If you don't kill somebody, you're gonna be in danger.
And
They say
in reality,
that the highest,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. They say the highest rate of killings have been here in California, in Los Angeles, in the last 5 years. And 70%, 46% in Phoenix, 45% in Chicago. And those areas are either predominantly Black or Hispanic. But statistics try to say that 49% of whites have police brutality over 27% Blacks and 20% Hispanic. And I don't believe those statistics.
Now, here's the
I
reason
do.
why the statistics are true, because it's 14 through 17% of blacks in the United States, and it's 50-60% white in the United States.
So when you take that into account, 28% is an astronomical number. For blacks to account for 28% of violent interactions with the police, that's a high number considering that the population is so low.
Yeah, it's only 13%.
Right.
What I read.
So
And
that's
it's
a
been like
big
that
deal.
for it's been 40 something million blacks since we've been let out of slavery, basically. And I ain't gonna blame the white folks for that. I blame us for that.
What do you mean?
The fact that over all these years we haven't accumulated more numbers as a species, as a race. We haven't accumulated more numbers since the end of slavery. We're still
Okay.
in the 40 million. It's still only 40 something million, and 60 years passed. How is that acceptable?
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think that's another conversation, though, for us to be able to really unpack that in a complete sense. But I do hear what you're saying, and I think there's some things that factor into that are pushed on a systemic basis, just like some other realities that we deal with. But I think that's something that would be better set in a different conversation. One thing that I did see in the statistics that I just want to mention real quick, because two of us here on the panel live in California, and it says in California, police are more than twice as likely to use force against Black people than they are in other states. So
That's horrible.
yeah, I thought that was a big deal, and that's something to consider when we step out the house. Is our tags up to date? You know what I mean? Are we speeding? Is we smoking weed while we're driving down the street? We got a gun in the car. All we got to think, is there anything about me that's going to draw more than the usual attention, knowing damn well that the usual attention is already through the roof?
And it's bad because women didn't have it as bad as men, black women and Black men. But now they don't care if you're a woman either. They shot that lady. She was pregnant. Shot that lady. Okay, dead. It don't matter. They just don't care. If you're Black, you have nothing to say. You have no rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. And that's all.
Mm-hmm.
too many innocent
That,
people.
okay, so if you knew, if you're walking down the street every day, you take a route, for instance, every day, and you know that it's a dog that 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 lives at this certain spot, and he goes crazy every day when you walk by the house. At what point are you gonna take an alternate route if this really bothers you? You know what I'm saying? If you're really bothered by this dog, then you got to start taking some alternate routes. And I feel like that people are tripping because they think that they have to make this point with the police, or knowing that the police are going to try to fuck you. Sometimes you have to go sit in jail overnight, or sometimes you're going to have to take whatever L they're trying to put you in, because if you try to
It's
talk,
going to be an L. The
yeah,
bottom line is it's going to be an L
right.
because
But if you
you're
try to
never going to
fucking do
win when you
stupid
go up
shit, you're
against
going to
them.
be killed. That's what you have to understand. Like, if okay, the police are dead ass wrong. I know that. But I can always sue them on the back end. But if I sit here and say, okay, I'm not getting out the car, I ain't done nothing wrong, or you do whatever, and I go on and on with these people, knowing that they're looking for a reason to fuck me off, that ain't smart either.
That's
Mhm.
It's too
definitely not
many.
smart. But listen, it says police brutality is a violation of human rights.
It
So
is.
we're supposed, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So we're supposed to just go and say, okay, well, we know we have to do something about it because they're just going to continue to violate us in this way. I don't know what the solution is, but when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, we know they're going to fuck with us. We know that we should have our tags right. We shouldn't be riding dirty. We shouldn't. But what about the group of people who aren't even doing any of that?
No, I hear what you're saying, and that's where the real struggle comes in at, because sometimes it's people who wasn't even doing nothing. You know, it's not always that somebody was doing something. All they did was be black when they left the house. You know, I
Yeah.
get that. I get that. Or, you
They
know,
hadn't even left the house.
or they
But when
might
the
have just
confrontation,
they might have just had an interaction with the wrong person, and because of who that person was connected to, you know, it creates some sort of hostility in the mind and the heart of a particular police officer. You know, and I know that that's something that's still at least as far as I know has yet to be confirmed, but there's some speculation on that being a factor with the Tyree Nichols case.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's even more dangerous to have a police who knows they have that much power and able to do something like that. It hasn't been mentioned, but I knew when last week I spoke about it, I said it just seemed like stated as a crime of passion. I knew the heartfeltness behind it was more to the story, and it's just still fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's hella fucked up.
Excuse my language, but
I think I think a point Dee's made earlier is it's important to note, and I step on this gingerly because I understand that a man's life was lost, you know, and for no reason ultimately. But he said that sometimes we have to be willing to accept that, okay, I gotta go sit in jail overnight. You know, this is the realities that we're faced with, no matter how unjust it might be. You know, some of the prominent figures in the past of black communities have had to do that. MLK, you know, the dude we was talking with, the Reverend, what's his name, Al Sharpton. All these cats have been arrested unjustly, and they took them cuffs, they took that momentary L, and they lived to fight another day. I think we stand a better chance of living to be able to hold the police accountable if we can have enough guts to just take that on the chin for the moment, you know, rather than fighting for our lives when um it can be avoided just by saying, okay, I got to take this L for right now. You understand what I'm saying?
But you know one
yeah,
thing, that police is big business, and that's money. And whenever money's involved with anything, it's always sour. And it's big business with making putting people in jail and just everything. So the police are always going to have the power unless I don't even see how it's ever not going to be the way it is. I don't ever foresee that it's not going to be no way but the way it is.
Well, you're almost guaranteed to get a lawsuit. If they come and they arrest you and they do something wrong in the process of that, which they're accustomed to doing, then, like I said, if you don't do anything that allows them to create that narrative, then you in the clear and you be able to get some money out of the situation when it's all over and sue or whatever and bring awareness and all those type of things. But if you sit there and argue with them and oh, wait, my tags is up to date, or this is my car, or wait, hold on, I ain't got it don't smell like weed in this car. I ain't got no weed here. Because we know they'll say it smell like weed in the car simply because a nigga is sitting in the car. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
that's their excuse to search the car.
Yeah, they're just trying to get into your car. You know what I'm saying? And
well, I was reading and it said that there are several remedies available to you if you have suffered from police misconduct and other civil right violations. But as we also know, the police, the judges, the DAs, they all are friends. And so it makes you also wonder, it's discouraging in the fact of how far will that go? I seen an incident where a actual army man was pepper sprayed and pulled out of his car, and they gave that man $3,000 for damages. It's like yes. That's a slap in the face. That doesn't make sense to me. And they were wrong. Every single thing they did about the stop was wrong. And so it makes people discouraged to try to wait it out and try to get them in trouble for the violations and things like that. Will that pan out when there's still the same system?
I can't think of the man's name right now. It's right off the top of my head, but he was he was in the military. He was just coming home from the military and was on the bus with his other soldiers. And he got off the bus, and here come the police. They end up shoving his eyes out, and he becomes blind. Okay, and is nationally known. That man didn't get any just dues for that until the 90s. And that was in like the 40s or something.
Well, yeah, that's to be expected if it's from way back then.
But he was in the military. And he
that don't mean nothing.
They were still hanging blacks from trees in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still doing it. It's just they keep on saying it's suicide. So that's a whole nother story in itself, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I don't know. It all comes. I'm probably going to be looked at as wrong because I know our people don't think like that. But the more unified you are, the more an enemy has to realize has to think when they deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And by us having all this tribalism, and we're all so separated, and nobody wants to be unified, and that's why they're able to operate the way they operate with our people, because we don't have any unity.
Yes,
I agree with that.
I agree. And see, back in the 60s, they were able to have the more unification because people were still going to church. People still sat down for dinners. And they were able to talk amongst their families and friends and get the point across. Now these people are just not nowhere joined together. They're just out doing whatever. And that's the only way we're going to get any kind of anything done is we have to have some sort of caucus. We have to, congregate so we could, I don't know.
No, I hear you on that. I think you can't have unification amongst any group of people unless there's something that brings us all together. As y'all know, I'm not a proponent for church or religion at all. So I don't think that is what needs to be done. Because if we look at the history of that, it's yielded zero results over a very lengthy time span. So that ain't the answer either.
I'm not saying church is the answer.
That's the reason why we're so passive as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I wasn't saying that you were saying that. I'm just saying that I definitely don't think if we decide to look at something like that, that's the route that we go. You know.
I was thinking, right now it's Black History Month, and this is the only time that you'll see any kind of newsreels about Black history and things that were done to Black people trying to get us any further in this world. And those reels need to be shown all year round. Like,
When you say newsreels, you mean like on the actual news networks?
it should be on TV. The only time you see it is on Channel 6. That's where I've seen it. Every time I see, that's the only place I see this stuff is on Channel 6. They don't on national broadcast, they don't show any of that stuff. They're not,
Right.
the kids aren't taught any of that in school. It maybe, some sort of once a month people can get together and in the park and put those up in the park, and people are able to watch stuff like that.
Yeah, but we can't even gather. We can't even gather like that to do things like that. I hate to say it, but Blacks ain't got it figured out right now. We can't even get into a group of us without some sort of violence going on or some sort of harm to what the point of the situation is.
So I wanted to respond to what you were saying about newsreels being shown. That would be important. However, unless you're illiterate, why the hell are you waiting for somebody else to show you what your history is? Pick up a book and read. You understand what I'm saying?
They're not going to.
Well, then they don't deserve the empowerment that comes from that. Period. That we have to be that truthful with our people. If you are not willing to sacrifice, let's say 30, 40 minutes of your day to reading, to learning something about history that will empower you and bring you closer to in line with your own self and your own purpose, then you really don't even have a voice in the conversation that we're having right now. Because we're talking about protecting a group of people who understand their purpose in life from police brutality, not people who are just jumping off doing whatever and can't even sit down long enough to edify themselves by reading something.
But now, just because they're ignorant doesn't mean that they shouldn't be given a chance to maybe want to change their way of thinking, or maybe they might want to learn something. Then if it's put in front of their face.
What up, Tamaya? No, I hear you on that. I hear you on that, but we live in an age where I don't know the percentage. Majority of people got a cell phone. If you got a cell phone, you got a library. If you got a cell phone, you got a damn encyclopedia. If you got a cell phone, you damn near have a university in your hand. There's your chance. If you're not using it, that's on you.
And see, like, everybody knew about George Floyd because everybody was at home because we couldn't go nowhere because of the pandemic. And they seen that taking place because it was on TV, broadcasting on TV. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those
hey, Niche.
What up, Niche?
What's going on, Tamaya? Yeah, y'all. Those things are diminished because every time somebody's actually doing something they ain't got no business, and then the police wind up getting them or killing them or whatever, that's what feeds what they're doing. You get what I'm saying? All these youngsters running around, they got all these guns on them. They running into these stores. They're breaking your windows out of your car, snatching 80-year-old ladies' purses, stuff like this. This is what keeps society in fear of us. So now it's almost like it's almost like they looking at it like a process of elimination. Like, we know that there's going to be some innocent casualties, but in order to get this whole objective handled, so what that there's going to be some casualties?
Yeah, well, we're given knowledge though. I'm glad you said that because there's a whole objective behind it. You know, there's reasons why this continues to happen, and they know basically they're going to get away with it unless there's change of us as a people.
Right. Black people are too criminally involved, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'm gonna read a couple of names right here. Stephon Clark, he was just going home, was shot multiple times. Botham Jane was shot by the white lady for sitting in his own house eating ice cream. Okay. Atiana Jefferson was killed playing video games with her nephew in her own house. Okay. Breonna Taylor in her own house. Okay. Killed. Man. Ahmaud Arbery running down the street, taking a jog, killed. You know, it don't matter if you're at home, if you're in your car, if the police that you encounter with feels like that you are in violation of being black, you're subject to being killed.
I understand what you're saying, but I also can relate to what Deez is trying to say. We have to we got to eliminate the ammunition that they use as propaganda to continue to paint us out as this tremendous threat, because those people you're mentioned, you have to understand it. You got to really take a look at the society that we live in. If we are constantly painted out as this monster that you must be afraid of, and then on top of that, we give confirmation to that through the conduct in our communities. They don't see a person eating ice cream, playing video games, taking a jog.
They see
a wild animal that their whole life has been painted out to them as a danger. We can't stop the painting from happening, but we can stop giving them the colors that make the painting more vibrant. You understand what I'm saying? There's certain things that we can control that will eliminate the need for police to even be in our environment at the level that they are. Because the fact is, like you said, there's an agenda behind it. And just like anything else, if they're trying to push that agenda, they're going to go to a place where they know that there's a likelihood of them being able to rack up the numbers. That's why I can leave out of my area right now where I live at, that's predominantly white people, and I get on the main road where it's 40 miles an hour and the average motherfucker doing 65 miles an hour. You know why? Because they know they're not going to see the police. And even if they do, they're not going to stop them. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's certain elements that are at play that we have to address, and that these areas are being targeted because there's fish in those waters and the fish. So that's why those areas are being targeted. We got to stop being fish that bite at the bait. You understand what I'm saying?
But see, I went to school with some people that became sheriffs, and they became sheriffs because a nigga whooped their ass. Okay. And so now they figure they gonna come back and get back at any person of color that they see. And when I seen one of the ladies, I said, "Hey, ain't you?" Yeah, I said, She said, "Yeah, so and so is the reason why I became a police officer. Just that reason." Okay, and it's someone who was been picked on, and they know once they get into the police force, now they're able to pick on people because of that badge.
And those are the exact type of people that the police force wants. Because if they didn't want them, they wouldn't pass the psych evaluation.
Chip on their shoulder.
So shout out to the chat. What's going on with you, Riley Pooh, Niche, Tamaya? We see y'all. We appreciate the interaction. I want to highlight this. And of course, this should say Black people, but nonetheless, though, because she made the correction in the comments, but nonetheless, it says that Black people got to be the change they want to see in the world. And as much accountability does fall squarely on the shoulders of the police and how they're running their program, there's an element that we have control of, And I think that's the part we should be trying to focus on, still being mindful of the threat of the police. You know, we ain't got to turn a blind eye to all the realities that we're discussing here, but you know, let's put our hands on the stuff that we can control. And we know there's
I
a
was
whole
thinking
lot of
that
stuff
same
that's
thing.
out of whack. So
I
yeah,
was thinking the same thing as far as the solution. What are things that we can do? And that's where it starts, in our own behavior, so that we're not always, like you said, fish, easy prey for them. We're making it easier. But
Okay,
I
so
also thought about how you guys were talking about the type of people who go into law enforcement. And it's some of the things that are requirements of law enforcement, I think, is a joke. These are some police officer qualities and skills that they look for. And the fact that they're not sticking to any of this is just, I don't know if defunding the police is the best thing, but how can we stop? Even if we're doing the wrong thing at times, how can we change the way that this organization has come together? They pick people who are supposed to be critical thinkers, sound judgment. They have good problem solving skills, communication skills, moral character, devotion to the community. These aren't the kind of people who are even becoming police officers.
Fuck no.
The state that you're in can add other qualifications, and there's a long list, knowledge of the law, teamwork. All these are broken from the gate.
mm-hmm.
You lightweight need a psychology degree to be a police officer.
they should have some sort of teachings on something.
Well, they say they pick people who have a sense of ethics, compassion, empathy, respect for others, devotion to the community, the ability to negotiate and rationalize. And I'm just laughing at the whole list. Throw the whole list away.
Mm-hmm.
To become a policeman, I think before they get on patrol, it should be volunteered work in communities that they're going to be policing. Do it voluntarily and see how they act then.
Well, they actually do that. They kind of weed them in, just like you're saying. But what it is it's the human error factor. Some people, it's just like when weed wasn't legal and people still smoke the shit out of it. Cops have the same thing going on in the precinct. They're in there smoking weed, even though they know it's illegal, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know that the things that they do are violating people's civil rights and human rights. But
who's going to stop them? That's
right,
what they figure.
Exactly. Who's going to stop us from doing this?
Just like the before they raided. Before all them white people went in the nation's capital. The year before that, it was a preacher and a couple of other activists, just there protesting, and we're doing a sit-in. The lady worked at the Capitol thing, and they arrested her. She's showing them that she worked there. They didn't care. But the following year, you got thousands of people rushing up in there, damaging stuff, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, some of those people got arrested and went to jail and all that other kind of stuff, but majority of them didn't and are never will be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that kind of leads to the point that I wanted to make in regards to all those characteristics that you say they look for, the ones you were running off mine. I think it's an absolutely true statement. They do look for all of those things, and they do believe that those cops embody all those things. And 9 times out of 10, they do. But here's the thing, here's the sleight of hand with all of that. When they're talking about the have moral standards and care about other people, it's the people that fit into the realm of society that they believe is supposed to matter.
That's true.
That's the Jedi mind trick. You understand what I'm saying? So they do embody all those qualities, but none of it applies to us. Shout out to Moon for tapping in. Yeah, I see you had to hit the back door, but that just let me know that I hadn't made the proper adjustments on Facebook. So good looking out for that. Yeah,
Well,
I think there's a thin line with that. You know what I mean? Those people really are who they say they are, but they just don't look at the rest of the world the way the average person does. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was watching shit, I can't think of what it's called. Tom Selleck, the Wahlberg brother. It's like where it's a family of
oh
cops.
yeah, um, dun dun dun
It
dun.
I
don't,
don't watch it.
it-
I don't
but
watch it.
the name of it ain't even important. The point
Yeah,
is though that like you could just see the way they discuss things. Like they have an elevated mind state above everybody else, until some come back to bite their ass. Now they want all the same empathy that they were never willing to give to anybody else. You understand what I'm saying? That's a reality on how police think. So when they pull you over, the majority of them don't see another human being. They see a number in a traffic stop.
Yeah.
And a,
You
and a,
understand what I'm
and a
saying?
person in a cell, and an inmate in a cell.
Exactly.
Yes.
They don't even
Yeah.
see you as human because their minds are so distorted and thinking that they're the pinnacle of society.
And that's how they think. All you got to do is do some time, and you'll know how they think. To them, they treat their dog better than they treat us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well, I know I've been racially profiled and discriminated by the police, and wasn't doing anything. I pulled up to the stop light to turn. He was across the light, turning. The other, his blinker was to go the other. He was turning the other way. I turned this way. He turned and rushed up behind me. Wasn't doing anything because of the car that I was driving was considered a stereotype. And man,
Yeah.
ran through
It
the whole
happens.
car. Where's this? Where's that? Where's this? Where's that? I'm
Man,
like,
it's to the point where you have to, if you see the police and you see that they're coming behind or somewhere near you, if you got to turn off and go stop at a store for a second to let that motherfucker pass by, then
that don't always help.
man, I don't give a fuck. I'm avoiding them motherfuckers at extra cost. I'm gonna extrally avoid them.
And then it's not about it helping because it may not help in that instant, but by you turning into that gas station, now there's even more eyes on his conduct. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm. And that's important because
It
in
may
this,
not help in that instant, but down the line, that video footage, that those
yes,
witness accounts, all that shit is gonna help in the long run. So
yes.
I agree with you on that.
Well, maybe that's what saved me because I did
Sometimes
pull
that's what you
into.
gotta do.
I think that's a great statement because a lot of this is coming to the forefront because of people's footage, the footage that other people are bringing in.
Okay. I was laughing at Luan. He be
Yes,
with
he's
the
always got something crazy to say. I love that.
but we talked about this already, so I wanted to go ahead and throw this up there also. The police force is the biggest gang ever. They only use their power. I would never feel safe around a cop. And the reality is there's a lot of us that feel that way. But then again, on the flip side of that coin, there's a lot of people that give the police demigod status. Oh, he's the
Right,
greatest thing ever. He could never be. You just do whatever he says and you'll be okay. He has your best interest at heart.
right.
You can't
Murderers,
tell.
murderers should be condemned, but if a cop does it, he needs a break. He shouldn't. See, I believe in holding the police more accountable because of like if you're upholding the law, how dare you get to break it?
Well, and that's the thing because they should be held to a higher standard as
Right,
far as police corruption that goes on, and that's police brutality includes them. The what is the result? They should have to go to jail. They should have to face harder time. There
right,
shouldn't be
right.
all these cops that have got away with doing this. That's the part
Mhm.
that I want to see a huge change on. Like, make them pay. You took an
Yeah.
oath. You vowed to protect the communities that you live in. You took this job for supposed to be protect and serve, and you done quite the opposite.
And I agree because basically it needs to be harsher penalties because not only are you breaking the law by assaulting somebody or whatever, you're also violating their human rights and their civil rights. You get what I'm saying? So the penalties should be more than it is for a normal citizen because of all people, they should know better.
Yeah, most definitely. They should be held to a higher standard for sure. Just like, so I got a truck driver's license. D's got one. As far as the state government is concerned, now we're professional drivers, quote unquote. Now, even though the average driver can go out and get what I don't even know what the hell it is. Was it point 0.8 for a regular driver or whatever? What is it? That's the legal.
Yeah,
The blood alcohol level, yeah.
It's
yeah.
point 0.8. Okay, well, whatever it is for them, it's 0.4 for us because we're held to a higher standard. You understand what I'm saying? So it should be the same principle when dealing with the police. Whatever the consequence is for the average individual, it should be 50% greater than that for you because you're held to a higher standard. So if the average everyday Joe is getting 20 years to life, or getting, we ain't gonna put the life on there. They getting 20 years for murder. You supposed to get 30 at least, just off the bat for being a cop.
Right.
Well, and see,
But
because
you've
you know that
arrested.
if you were drinking and driving and you got that, your blood alcohol level has a difference than the normal average driver, you take that in consideration when you're driving. You're not risking it all. You're not throwing it all on the line. When I go to work, my job expects me to be professional. I think everybody, when you go to work, you are there, yes, to earn a paycheck, but you know that you have a moral compass that you're going to stand and that you don't want to lose your job. You take that seriously, so you behave the way that you're supposed to. They're not doing that. They can go to work and spend their day chasing behind people, making tickets and towing people's cars, just doing all kinds of shit for no reason.
Right. So I was looking up something. I wanted to see what the stats were on this because of what you said about them working in the communities that they live in. So I just wanted to see what was the reality of that. And according to this statistic, that 60% of officers in the U.S. live outside of the city limits. So they don't even live in the areas that they're policing. By and large, that's not the case. And with that being said, there's already a sense of detachment from the people that they're supposedly protecting and serving. You know?
It lines up to what you said of the mindset, because it doesn't fit in their caliber of thinking of who's worthy or who they value or in their communities. That's not the community they live in. So they don't value it.
Yeah. Nobody's going to catch them on their off day in the grocery store and be like, hey, Tom, how are you doing today? You know what I mean? I remember when I seen you over here in the squad car doing this, that. There's no person to person relation. Every time somebody in the communities they work in they see them simply as a cop. You understand what I'm saying? Versus if they actually worked in the communities they live in, when they have these encounters, it's not just Mr. Police Officer. There's some sort of connective tissue between them. Our kids play on the same softball team or whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying?
So should we be policing our own communities then?
We have to, but not from
That's what I was talking about.
But not from the standpoint of being cops. We police our own communities based on morals and principles that we stand on as individuals and collectively as a community. But all that starts with having some idea of who the hell we are. You understand what I'm saying? Because we got to have a foundation to build on to even have the courage to stand up and do the work that needs to be done.
Okay, so how does that start? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How does it start? We keep saying Black people need to unify. People, we need to come together. So what's the first step to getting that to start that if out of us four, what's the first step for us to do to start trying to help that come into play?
It starts in our households because we have youth, we have children. So we have to continue to instill in our children the right morals and values, self-love and self-respect, and they'll carry themselves in a way that just trickles down. You know, if you have self-respect, you might not want to go take the life of another Black man. If you have self-respect, you're not going to be out here trying to kill another Black woman. So because it seems like police brutality always leads into the Black on Black crime situation too. It's like, oh, the police are killing you. You'll hear people say, oh, why should we worry about police brutality when we're killing ourselves? And it's like, well, let's start loving ourselves. Let's start changing the way that we think, the way that we eat, the way that we live. And that's real shit.
I think that's that goes back to what we had mentioned about making an adjustment on our own. Let's not give them the ammunition to make those statements about Black on Black crime, even though we know it's bullshit, because crime is usually done to people by people within their same community, within their reach. So just like this Black on Black crime, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. It might the rates might be higher, but crime takes place within the communities and the people that are within your reach. There's white on white crime, and you look at white people getting killed, they're not getting killed by gross numbers of Black people. It's white folks doing it. Asian, Mexican, whatever you look at, it's the same people that are doing the majority of the killing. So it doesn't matter if it happens at a higher rate with us. What that shows is that's something that's subject to human nature. So that's a bullshit argument anyway. However, because we know we're doing it at higher numbers, and not only that, whatever numbers we're doing it at is being pumped into the media to get more airplay, we have to do everything we can to stop stop providing that ammunition. And that starts with self. You know what I mean? We got to get ourselves in line in order to have something of power to say to the youth. You understand what I'm saying? To be exemplary to the youth. That's how we begin the process of policing our communities, is to be somebody that these young people can look to when there's a problem. He might be able to tell me how to deal with this without fighting this dude. He might be able to tell me how to deal with this without shooting this dude. She might be able to tell me how to deal with this without going to steal something. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree. That's a good point.
Yeah. They play on emotional trauma. That's why, man.
Hold on, wait. I got it.
It says they play on emotional trauma. That's why they got slave movies every year, to keep us in a victim state and less caring about being the victim.
Absolutely.
Or being the victors.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so man, that's deep. I think I posted it in the chat, or maybe I put it in the family chat, but I don't know if y'all seen it. The stuff about the Black Panther movie where the dude kind of unpacked the whole ideology of the whole hero narrative. Did y'all take a look at that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what he was saying is that typically Marvel and Disney heroes historically, or maybe it was Marvel heroes historically have fought against the opposers of the particular nation relative to the US. They have fought against American enemies. You understand what I'm saying? And when you look at Black Panther being this African hero, okay, yet the opposition that he faced was also African. You understand what I'm saying? It's so subliminally promoting the whole idea of self-hate and violence within our own, between ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I just thought that was deep when we look at stuff that is presented to us and we readily accept it for face value as something that's good for us. But if we step back and take a look and say, what's the imagery that's really being put out here? You know what I mean?
I said that when I first seen it the first time.
When we look at, okay, yeah, Wakanda was able to pull off the victory, but they did it with the help of the CIA agent. So that's another subliminal. Yeah, you can be victorious, but only if you do it on the backs of white people. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that we have to be willing to say, you know what? Let me get with me and see what's going on with me and fix me and then get in tune with my energy. Everything is energy. Whatever I put out good is going to bring back good results. And we direct that straight at the youth and build up from there. Because it definitely ain't overnight.
I
Well, I
get,
hate
not
to say
overnight.
this,
I
though.
get what you're
It
saying,
took a
but I think that that's what we've become too accustomed to as a people, and that's why we lack unity, because it's like myself, and then I get around to them later. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why the divide is what it is, because nobody gives a fuck about anybody but themselves.
I don't mean it in that sense. I mean that making sure that we are internally sound. You know what I'm saying? We're sound of mind, sound of heart, sound of body, not in a selfish sense. I don't mean get with self like that, but that we as an individual have something of value to provide to the people around us. You know, that we can be of service to our brothers, our sisters, and the young people around us, even the elderly. You know what I mean? Or else how can we effectively police our communities? We'll just be a bunch of lost niggas standing out here talking about fuck 12. You know what I mean?
It is fuck 12 on mine though.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
Well, I know every time I get pulled over, I have an attitude. And the last time I'm like, was told, why don't you just
How the hell are you getting pulled over though? Like, man,
because,
what the hell?
I don't know why the last time I got pulled over, I was pulling into the casino and he wanted to pull us over. And I was pissed the fuck off because of that too.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said what I said, man.
Because it's playing the music.
Yeah, that's why I was just finna say, like, I don't know. I'm mindful of so much shit. Like, my security does not falter. Like, I'm worried about everything. There's not gonna be some call. I'm talking to somebody on the phone, chatting. I hate talking while I drive. Don't call me while I'm in the car. Don't text me while I'm in the car. I got other shit to focus on. I'm trying to get to my destination.
I get your niche.
Oh, yeah. No, I said it the other day when we was talking about this. They're already behind me. The minute I get, I'm still sitting in my driveway, but in my mind, the police are behind me or they're about to get behind me. I'm not one of these people that's going to react. I'm going to proact. Everything is in order in my car. I know exactly where all my information is. If I need to get to it at a traffic stop, you know what I mean? So I can tell this person where I'm not sitting up waiting. Oh shit, the police behind me. I knew they was behind me. 9 times out of 10, the times that I have been pulled over, with the exception of one time in my truck, I seen the police before they seen me. I'm Tupac. I'm staring at the world through my rear view. To me, it's a threat that we have to be aware of. It's like being out in the woods and not looking for a bear.
I get it, but I don't know. I've not been pulled over because I don't allow them to have that opportunity. So I avoid that shit at all costs. I'm like I said, I'll stop and fake a flat tire. I'll do whatever the fuck I gotta do to avoid them son of a bitches.
No, I ain't mad at you.
I'm not playing no games with them fucking police because I'm a big man and they're automatically intimidated by that. And
right. You are the gun.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
You don't even gotta have one.
I'm a very big man and they're gonna be scared shitless of me because they know in a tussle, it ain't gonna really come out in their favor without using some sort of force or weaponry or something of that matter. So I just try to avoid the pullover altogether. I mean, eventually some might happen to where I do pull over, but I don't be doing all that speed. And I drive like, oh man, I don't give a fuck. I'm not speeding nowhere. I'm not like if I see the police, I'll turn my music down. If I'm smoking, I'll put the weed down for a minute. If whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna decrease the chances of them coming after me just on some self-awareness shit because I know how reckless they are. So if I know how reckless they are, I should be taking some sort of precautions.
I agree.
That's one of the things right there.
I'm glad to hear that you do that. But at the same time, it's kind of sad to know that if you have brothers, if you have a husband, if you have sons, there's going to be times where you guys have to think about that. You have to live in fear, but it doesn't really just apply to men. Because if we look at Sandra Bland, she was driving while black. So, I mean, there's still going to be incidents for women as well. But
didn't she have a pistol on her lap?
No,
I don't think she
I
had.
think you thinking about somebody else. Yeah, but
That's-
even if she did, hold on, time out. Even if she did, because this is something that has been a debatable discussion since weed was legalized in California. Like how you said, if I'm smoking weed, I'll put the weed down. I don't got no sympathy for a nigga who got arrested or got pulled over while you were smoking weed. That's no different than driving down the street with a bottle of gin to your lips. You're not trying to avoid the police if you driving around. I mean, what is it that's going on in your life that's so important that you can't take a 20-minute ride to your folks' house without putting some weed to your lips? You damn near deserve to get arrested. And that's what I meant about giving them the ammunition. Fuck weed. It ain't that important. Wait till you get to where you're going. You understand what I'm saying? Like we have to start. If we ain't gonna take no steps, then it's crazy of us to tell them to take some steps.
Well, we know they're not going to take any steps, so we are forced now to start taking steps.
Right.
We have to. If we don't, we know they don't care, so we have to start caring. I
We
get
know the
that.
bears are hunting us, so let me put this honey on my back. Let me slather my back up with honey because the bears is hunting me. And you know,
it's just like them cartels and the mafia and stuff like that. They know they're breaking the law, so they try their damnedest to not look like they're breaking the law, to cover up and to do stuff. The mafia wore suits and ties and shit like that, and look like businessmen. That way, if their sources of income came into question, they had some sort of cover up. So but like I don't know. I feel like motherfuckers is we trying to live up to our own negative image that society has painted of us.
Yeah, hard. You're hard as hell.
Well, I also read that, like swearing at a police officer is not illegal. Like that's another thing too. People get a misconception of, well, if he would have just listened to what they said, or he shouldn't have cussed at the cop, because but yeah, you're doing things to antagonize a cop, but technically, you can talk to a cop any way you want to, if you know you ain't did nothing wrong, but he's going to slam you out that car any damn way. You might as well get it off your chest.
I don't know. I think I've been fortunate because a lot of my encounters on that level took
You have
place
cussed them out.
before. Oh yeah, I didn't win 18 dummy on the police.
I have too.
You know. Because as long as I'm not doing it in a threatening manner, I got a freedom of speech, partner. I can say whatever I want to you. And if you don't like it, what are you still doing here? Especially after you done wrote your ticket, you want to hear everything I gotta say. The ticket, what you still doing here? Bye. You know what I mean? But I look back on that, and I just think I've been fortunate because some other brothers met their demise doing the same thing that I
it's
did.
sad.
Much younger though,
I first thought when you said that, Maisha, the first thing I thought of was Eddie Murphy when he's on Delirious when he said, "Shit, I wish I was a slave. I'd have been like, nah, Nick, master." That's the first thing I thought of. Because
Another thing that I thought was weird too is I heard people say, because like the numbers of the 1,176 people who were killed or who experienced death from police brutality in 2022, most of them those people were minding their business. They weren't in those kind of negative situations. That's the part that's scary. So even when you do the right thing, it still has a wrong result. And we continue to keep seeing that play out. And it makes us even more defensive and fearful. Fearful, you know what I mean? Because you can't stop going places. You got to get out. You got to go. You got to travel. But there's always an opportunity. You may come in contact with somebody who's wearing a badge, who's having a bad day.
But
that's why I said what I said though. You got to be careful. You got to be mindful of them motherfuckers. You can't just be blindly rolling around and try. You got to know all the traffic laws. You got to know the speed limits. Follow the speed limits. You got to be.
Traffic laws don't mean a motherfucking thing if they want to take you out. They don't give a fuck if you ain't doing. They don't care if you're not doing shit.
No, okay, we understand that. I think a lot of the data that we've covered has already indicated that. We understand that. We're not saying that. But if we can't jump out with a gun on our hip like they got one, you understand? Then we have to be able to weaponize our mind. And the only way we can do that is by having a detailed understanding of the laws and policies that are in place that they are supposed to follow when they encounter somebody in a traffic stop or for whatever reason. They have parameters that they're supposed to operate in. That's why, like how he talked about pulling over somewhere in public. Get as many eyes on you as possible. And we got to be able to articulate like, okay, I don't have to give you my license, registration, and proof of insurance. The law only requires that I exhibit this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like they push the lines in every aspect they can. We have to be knowledgeable enough to pull a card on that.
My coworker's son was pulled over. The officer said, "I'm not going to arrest you or take your car, but you can't not drive off in the car."
Mm-hmm.
He drives off. Another policeman comes up behind him and tells him to get out the car. And he cracks his window and he's like, "I'm just waiting for a ride." He said, "I said crack the window." They end up breaking the boy's window and snatching him out of the car and taking him to jail.
Right. And that's a lawsuit. You understand what I'm saying? If it's recorded. You know, if there's recorded information of that, there's a lawsuit. I think this is an excellent question, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm the one to speak on that because that's a battle I have every time. Like there is a proper etiquette, but I couldn't even almost tell you what it is because,
They want you to be like, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I understand that you might not want to actually, be the one to speak on it, but the proper etiquette is to keep your hands where they can see them, to give up the information, not to appear hostile. I know that's a kind of, yes, massa, I be doing the right thing, massa. I know nobody wants to hear that, but make it home. Try to make it home.
So you fuck them up when you do that. Because I always tell them, "You sure I can move my hands? You sure I can do anything? Are you sure you want me to reach over here into my glove box?" That's the type of conversations I have with them.
Okay, as far as stuff like that, you're absolutely right. It's a matter of making sure that you ain't making no movements without first announcing that. I think this is something else also that's important. It's a matter. It's self-respect. You gotta find a way to interact with a person that commands respect because your demeanor demonstrates that you have a respect for yourself. That's challenging when you got trauma related to the police because just the sight of them is an emotional trigger. And I think that's what it is with me. Like it's so far back that it takes a whole lot of effort for me to get through a traffic stop in a proper fashion where another person might do it and it's easy breezy. You know what I mean?
That's the majority of the mindset of people when it comes to the police. They have post PTSD basically already in their head. So it's the anxiety. I mean, as soon as you're driving down the street and as soon as you see the police, you're like, God damn. Looking all it shouldn't have to be like that.
It
Mhm.
shouldn't be like that, especially if you know when you know you're riding clean, your car's got registration, your shit is tagged, you got a license, it's insured, you've done all the measures to be able to drive, and you still have to be fearful. That's a freaking problem. And then I was also speaking to my son earlier about the topic, and he was saying, well, police have they have a hard job and stuff. You have to be willing to look at both sides of the coin, Mom. And I was saying, well, what are actually the numbers? Because if the numbers of people in 2022 that got killed by the police, what's the number of police that actually got killed by people? Because I'm sure
Nowhere near.
there's a difference. So why are they coming in there so defensive? I don't. That's what I want to know about as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Those
it would be different. It would be different if the statistics indicated that the overwhelming majority of people that were killed in these police altercations were at least in the commission of a violent crime. But the statistics show the exact opposite. So that whole little argument about their job is hard. No, it ain't about their job being hard. And even if it was, they knew the job was dangerous when they took it. They had aspirations to go run that play. So running
Right.
that doesn't harm people unnecessarily.
Not like the fool that hopped out. He was getting pulled over, and then as soon as the policeman got out, he hopped out and busted on it, and then hopped back in his car, drove off, then ended up down the road and got back out and busted on him again.
I'm certainly not promoting any of that.
Right, because this is what they want us to think. When that's a lose. It don't matter. That's a losing battle. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, at least from what I've seen, a lot of times when we actually do see footage of people firing on the police, they shooting at them. It's usually not black people. Mm-hmm. So again, we know that that's not the real reason for their supposed ferocious approach to us.
I just am really.
Yeah, that and
I really just feel a lot of empathy for our young black men, because they really are number one targets. Okay. And it's really sad. And you have to be really strong in the mind to be able to deal with that.
Where did it go? Somebody already highlighted it. I'd rather take matters in my own hands than call the police. I agree with that. And not just for the reason that they're not to be trusted, but also it's because if we want to see change, then we got to take advantage of opportunities to handle stuff in-house. Because when we say take matters into our own hands, that doesn't necessarily mean violence. It could be that, I got enough conflict resolution skills to work my way through this situation without having to hurt somebody or without me getting hurt. You understand what I'm saying? I know that the person in my neighbor or whoever this is, we've demonstrated over the years that our community knows how to work through all this. It's got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Do we have to call the police because something happened outside our house? Am I man enough to deal with this man or woman enough to deal with this in a respectful manner to where there's no need for the police to be here?
Yeah,
I have a question about that too, though, because I think it was you who gave the statistics about the reasons why, the type of people who it was that was murdered by the police, and some of that had to do with mental health. So when they have people who are called out for mental health calls, usually it's a family member who didn't want to have to call them. You know what I mean? And so the way that they're handling those kind of calls, they're killing those people, because they feel they're defensive. They feel they're angry. They don't know. So there's no proper training for them to fix that. And would we have proper training in our homes when we know a person is not right? We could try to handle it, but I think some of those mental health calls, that was at their last, they didn't have nothing else to do.
Okay, so I was gonna try I was going to try to just paraphrase it, but now I'm going to go ahead and try and find the information, because there was something talking about how in some of these places, some cities around the country, that they've actually implemented something to where the police don't have to respond to these calls. So it says that there's a Denver program where clinicians and medics have responded to thousands of mental health calls instead of police and have not had to call police for backup. Some cities have restricted. Okay, I'll stop right there because that's going into something else. But it talks about them responding to thousands of mental health calls,
That's
and
wonderful.
they were able to work through this in Denver without having to call for police backup. You know what I mean? So mindset. That's what we talked about already. It's about mindset. Obviously, these clinicians, they're coming in with the mindset of, I really want to help this person.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
empathy for this person. My heart goes out to this person. The police is showing up like, man, look, oh, you tripping? You crazy? I'm crazier than you. And just
Right. Well, and that we can be empowered, though. We can empower people with that type of information, though. If they know that there are other resources to call and they're in that exact situation, that could be helpful to the numbers right there. If that's can change things, I think that's great.
Well, see,
They should have them in more communities. Shit.
I don't give a damn about the mental health aspect, because when it's all said and done, the police got so many alternatives before that pistol comes out.
Yeah.
But that's the first one they pull.
Right. But because we know we can't trust them to exercise those other alternatives, then it's better to have somebody in play that's going to exercise them.
Oh, no, I agree with that part, but I'm just saying, even still, when they be just killing motherfuckers and rolling up, and the only way they know how to resolve a conflict is by brutalizing the situation, I think that shit is bullshit.
It is.
Right.
It definitely is.
Okay. So I was kind of shook right here for a second. I was kind of shook. Like, what is my boy talking about? He didn't went to, but I get it now. He said police are legally given the right to assisted suicide. And we talking about suicide by cop, a dude jump out and
if you jump out, then they have the right to take you out.
Right, and I mean, when you unpack it, that's what it is. Yeah. Shout out to Joshua Hill. I see you in the chat. Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it. Matter of fact, not too far from here, down the street from where I used to stay at last week, the police capped some dude, but he was a murder suspect. So that doesn't really fall in the parameters of what we talking about, but it does fall in line with the assisted suicide thing, because he jumped out the car with a fake pistol and
a fake one. Damn.
Yeah, but they took it easy on him. No, I think he only got hit once or something like that, But he was trying to do suicide by cop, no doubt, because he sure wasn't gonna shoot nobody with a replica gun,
Yeah, what were you doing? That's why I was like, and you said he was a murder suspect?
Yeah, but he didn't use a gun in the murder though.
It doesn't matter. You cannot be doing anything. Them black ladies was on the train going from Klamath Falls somewhere, Oregon, and ended up being put off the train out there because the police said they had to get off the train. It's just they take their job and damn it, left me. They use their shit to fuck with people, and that's just all it is to it. And
they do,
But you don't read that? Come on.
Yeah, I can read it. I was looking at something else. I'll be laughing at these comments on the low. My bad. Okay, so it says these were listed as 3 main reasons that cause police brutality: inadequate laws, racial or other forms of discrimination, insecurity or conflict, and entrenched impunity.
That last one.
That's deep. The entrenched impunity and the insecurity. Like, because let's face it, I mean, they be acting like bitches, man. You know,
I mean, so insecurity of conflict, though, because I had those too. Inadequate laws, we understand that. Racial or other forms of discrimination, we understand that. Insecurity of conflict or entrenched impunity, let's go into that.
We
Why
know
are
that
you
that's
even?
what it is, though. That's what the blue wall of silence is.
that's the entrenched impunity part. That insecurity. Look, man. Some of these dudes, they got punched on and bullied in high school, and or maybe it was even further back than that. They might have their whole school experience might have been them getting disrespected and punched on, you know, or whatever, just getting mistreated in any kind of way. And so their internal response to that is secret anger. I can go be a cop, and now I have an avenue to unleash my anger because
That's just some.
really
That's some
I'm
bleed.
insecure on the inside. So when you get pulled over and you let the cop know you recording him, and 15 seconds have gone by and he has yet to tell you why he pulled you over, and you say, so why'd you pull me over, officer? I'm the one asking the questions here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
an insecure little
they still,
dirtbag. That's what that
And
is.
here we go again.
Yeah.
but see, but there's been instances where they know they're being recorded and they still be like, I don't care, I'm the police. Okay.
No, I know that. I know that.
That's
But
why.
I'm saying, like, certain responses are born out of a person's insecurity. If I can't even ask you why you haven't followed the protocol of your own job without you copping an attitude, you got some insecurity issues that you need to sew up on your own. That ain't got nothing to do with me. He said security.
That's why you laugh at
They
yourself.
damn sure be
Yeah.
insecure. Mm-hmm.
No, Joshua says that's the foundation of America, and that's why do we get so surprised when it happens? It's true because it's going to continue to happen. I mean,
Right.
At this point, it's never going to stop, and that's why I said everybody can do what they got to do. My thing is avoid them motherfuckers at all goddamn costs.
It's true. I mean, that's the number one thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I avoid them motherfuckers at all costs. I don't want to ever come in contact with them motherfuckers. Ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that goes into the next thing I was going to read too. Is that what are three of the most common ways police misuse authority? False imprisonment, excessive force, and malicious prosecution. So, of course, we don't want to come in contact with them because look at what happens. False imprisonment, excessive force, and malicious prosecution. You're going down.
Right.
You're going down.
Mm-hmm.
Goes back to what I just said a minute ago. That's why coming in contact is out of the question.
Yeah. Because it just it's too high of a risk. And it ain't even just those things that you talked about. Like, realistically, if we don't play our cards right, you get pulled over. That could prove to be the last few minutes of your life.
It definitely can.
That with Tyree Nichols. You understand what I'm saying?
The chances are very, very high statistically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or if you get in their house, they beat you down inside of their house, and you really ain't got no chance because that has happened.
You definitely don't have a chance then.
Oh, I got a chance.
Man, drug motherfucker down the stairs one time.
I'm gonna take at least one of you motherfuckers with me. At least one of you motherfuckers.
Right. You know, and of course, you know, nobody wants to actually find themselves in that situation, but it is a possibility, and we should probably chew on what our options are if we get in that situation. You know, are we mentally prepared to stand on our square?
So I put this comment up right here. Been Pretty 916. Sadly, you are not safe in America. Safety is an illusion. So I had seen something. I don't know how true it is, but I seen a post or something like that, and they were saying that it's a 50-50 chance, basically, that if you get killed in America, your crime will go unsolved.
I want to just throw a curveball right quick. See, twins, even Big Sis gets it, okay? Sidebar, you know. But no, yeah, the fact that there's a high likelihood of you getting dirt napped and somebody getting away with it. It's like, man, that's kind of crazy when you think about that. So, and
Safety
it's
is
even a
an
higher
illusion.
likelihood if it's the police, you know.
Right. No, but
Yeah.
safety is an illusion that people have, and a lot of this stuff that's going on, people running into these jewelry stores and running around doing this, and all this inflation and prices going up here and prices going up there. All that means is criminals got to work harder to get by. So now, what's going to eventually come to pass is, where do you think they're going to go when the times really get rough? The criminals. They're not going to travel outside of their community.
But if there was really policing criminals like they're supposed to be, they're not policing criminals. They're policing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit already. You know, that there's some stuff that needs to be done on a community level, steps that need to be taken on an individual level, and that will have results as a collective in the community. You know, it's bigger than police brutality, obviously, but you know that's the message that's on the table for right now. How can we respond to that, and how does it impact us as individuals, and how does that impact our communities and how we choose to respond to that? You know what I mean?
Let me tell you how significant it is. Police violence is the leading cause of death for young men in the United States.
Get out of here.
That's what it says. Police violence is the leading cause of deaths for young men in the United States. Over the life course, about 1 in every 1,000 Black men can expect to be killed by police.
That's why I was going to say what I'm going to say right now. It's like this, young men, if you out here breaking the law, you know you have to kill. You might as well hold it straight down right when they come up on you. There's no
Mm-hmm.
need to. You know what odds you up against? If you want to play the dirty game, then you got to play it at the highest level, and that's the only way that, you know, like if you choose to ride dirty, you got to have these pistols in the car, and you got to have these drugs and this dope and all this other stuff, and you know you down to shooting down another black brother. Why you can't down one of them?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to continue reading what it said also. It said the risk of being killed by police peaks between the ages of 20 years old and 35 years old for women and men of all racial and ethnic groups. Black women and men, American Indian, Alaskan Native, women and men are significantly more likely than white men and women to be killed by police.
So it seems like they're targeting age as well.
Well, if we look at the bigger picture, they want to take us out. They want to take, if you're killing through that age group, you're killing people who have the chance to produce life.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Clearly, they're targeting age group. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still struggling to believe that leading cause of death for young men being police violence. I don't know about that. I would have to
that might be
investigate.
propaganda right here.
Yeah, I mean, I just would have to investigate the source on that further. Only because they're saying it's the leading cause.
Well, because I think about black on black crime also. I'm like, I know more people who have died, and this is me personally, like y'all would agree, we know more people who have died at the hands of other black people than we know of people who have died at the hands of the police, right? So that's why the numbers seem,
right.
it seemed real. It seemed funny to me too, but I highlighted that and I'm like, this is what it says. How true is it? Somebody else can Google and look at that as well. Like,
But
I mean,
you have to think about it. More than half are not reported either, or even known about.
Well, and we're talking also on a national level too.
You can't, Khalil. Boy.
Hey, I got it right here. Okay?
Hey, my boy said we got to take a propaganda at that propaganda. Oh man.
Oh my God.
He coming for my credibility now.
Right.
I'm sorry. But as soon as I see that, I lost my shit.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
looking at the performed research author of this right now. I'm gonna have to double check that.
There goes another one.
You know, so I think though it's safe to say we kind of know, or at least we all have already kind of agreed that there's no end in sight for none of this, because it would just take a tremendous shift in thinking and operation on a governmental level to bring this to an end. And when you think of all the things that are linked to policing, it's not going to happen. Like when we look at these numbers,
too much crime to stop it.
Well, yeah, but crime is for the majority. Crime is a result of poverty, or a lack of resources. You know what I mean? So if that isn't being addressed, then crime ain't gonna stop. And if crime ain't gonna stop, there's gonna be a need for police. And because it's all linked to a system of farming people to be slaves in the prison industry. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even though it's proportionately more people of color, they're still not even selective when it comes to that, because there's white folks in there too. You understand what I'm saying? So it's such a bigger issue.
They come from worse situations than blacks that are in prison.
It's such a bigger issue when we look at the whole picture of it, though. You know what I mean? Like that problem ain't going away. So what can I do, not just to avoid contact with the police, but to avoid unnecessary conflict as far as it depends on me with the police? Because some shit is out of our control. We ain't gonna be able to quarterback it every time. But as far as it's up to me, can I make sure that I don't engage in unnecessary conflict, altercation, disagreement with the police? You know what I mean?
Right, because the less interactions you have with them, the less likely you are to be killed by them.
I'm saying even when you have the interactions, and because of what I said earlier, that's like personal for me. I know I got to check myself, because the default response is fuck the police coming straight from the underground, but I can't do that in this day and age. If I plan to live a long life, So yeah, if you find yourself in contact with them, you got to do it in a way that you can get home, like you said. Like I got disrespected by a woman police down in LA. I got pulled over in my truck. She come to the truck telling me how fast I'm going. She lying, just talking to me like I came from up out of her snatch. And I had to just take it all on the chin, like, because I was like, she really trying to bait me in. She going hard. I'm not going to give it to her. But
and that gets under their skin even more.
She was every thinkable bitch in the book when I drove off.
Right. You did your self-work that day. You did your self-work.
Had to, because like I said, my default response is, to look, you not fit to talk to me like that. But I already see that that's probably not good for my continued existence. So I'll be having to tame that.
Well, I just want to say that I'm going to try, and because I'm in the public with people every day when I'm at work. And if I see a group of young kids, I'm going to ask that question to them. I'm going to see if I can get some feedback from our young that's out here,
I'm going to go in. Stop calling the police, bro. Stop saying, what do you mean? Bro, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, if we gonna sound like we ain't got no brain in our head, expect to be treated like we ain't got one. That's kind of what I meant earlier when I said when we speak, we have to command respect. You can't be some grown individual, even if you're 19, hell, you 17, you know what I mean? Like, you better be thinking like a damn man. You know what I'm saying? And you better be able to articulate yourself like one. But, if you want to talk to the police like he the homie across the way, you might want to expect him to get at you like the homie across the way. Yeah.
But I ain't kissing no ass. That's why I said.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm not kissing your ass, motherfucker.
To me, it's like I just have to go back to what I said. To me, it's avoid them motherfuckers at all costs.
But that's not always possible. So when we find, and I'm not talking about kissing nobody's ass. I'm saying act like you can speak like something other than a nigga who hangs on the corner. Bro, what are you talking about, bro? I ain't do. That's what I'm talking about. That's not kissing ass. That's speaking like you ain't got no education.
Right.
Can you articulate yourself in a way that demonstrates that they're involved with somebody who has some intelligence? That's not kissing ass. That's showing them that I don't care about the other 200 people you pulled over. You got a different breed today. I know the law. I know what
you can still have self-respect and still be like, why are you pulling me? Man, today's not the day.
No. They could be pulling you over to tell you the lights is out.
No. It's nothing wrong with asking them that after you've given them ample opportunity to tell you themselves, because they're supposed to tell you. So if you think we're going to get through a traffic stop and you asking me 1,000,000,001 questions and I don't even know why you're standing at my window, we can't have that conversation.
Yeah, because after you've asked 2 or 3 times, majority of the time, why are you pulling me over?
And I'm only going to ask questions that are related to the stop. So I can't even be sure what that is when I don't know why you didn't stop me. Why'd you even stop me? We got to know that first.
Yeah, I might agree with you. Yep, I was going 87 miles per hour in a 65.
Yeah. Do you know how fast you were going? Look, you know how fast you were going?
Around 90, 85.
No, look. Hey, look. I am not legally bound to answer that question.
I don't speed, so I don't.
Well, and no, I don't know. I mean, it's not up to me to know how fast I was going. If they pulled you over, that's not even negotiable. Whatever they say they clocked you at, that's what they clocked you at. So,
because you'll be in court trying to fight the ticket, saying, "Well, he admitted to the officer that he was going." Yeah. We can't even. I don't know. I didn't understand what you said.
Right. I have no idea. I wasn't watching.
No, I was just driving. Yeah.
I would like to retract my statement. That's not the leading cause of death.
Okay, so I want to ask the panel. So
it's just know that, okay?
How many times have you been pulled over and actually got out of whatever, and nothing happened?
Oh,
huh?
Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna tell you right now.
It's been a good amount of times for me.
It's been a few.
I got about 3 or 4 under my belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you what? Got pulled over?
Got pulled over by the police.
And nothing happened.
Or something, whatever, and nothing happened.
I was in those smoking all in public.
Yeah.
I was in those puffing all in public.
It's been a few times.
No, but for real, and I think that goes back to what somebody had said earlier about you gotta have the right energy or something like that. But yeah, I got pulled over. Was this back in like 2003 or something like that? So it was a long time ago. But I'm on the 99 and it's a traffic jam, and I'm talking about stuck at a standstill traffic jam. Got the car in park. Okay, and I'm sitting there, and after about 15, 20 minutes of not moving, I look over and I had a little doobie in the ashtray, right? So I'm like, okay, I fired the thing up. And I'm talking about a piece of a blunt. It ain't even a half a blunt. It's just enough for me to quit tripping on stuck in traffic. Man, it wasn't too long after that. Here come the highway patrol up the shoulder, and I'm in the left-hand lane. He coming up. I'm thinking he trying to like get by to whatever's going in front of me. I scoot over.
Coming to you.
Gets right behind me and gets on the speaker. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to follow me off the freeway.
Bitch
So he
ass
makes a
motherfucker.
lane. We get down there. I'm gonna tell you why I pulled you over.
Somebody
We
had
got
to
a
have called
call.
him.
Hey, look, we got a call that you were out here smoking marijuana in your car. And he goes,
Right.
is there any truth to that? And I'm like, okay, look, hey, look, man, you seen the traffic out there. We was sitting still for 30 minutes. So I looked over, I had a doobie in the ashtray, and I fired it up. And he was like, oh, well, I appreciate your honesty. That has a lot to do with how I'm gonna deal with this situation. He ran my license and let me go. So now what I learned though from that is even though I got off, don't ever just tell him what you was doing. Hey, look, but I wasn't driving and smoking. You know what I'm saying? But I think it came down to me not being angry because I was too busy. I was in a relaxed state of mind and gave good energy, and he wasn't tripping. But there's instances where we don't have problems with the police. We already know that.
All police aren't bad. I'm gonna say that all police aren't bad, but majority of them are. And every now and then you might get a cool one, because I was on the phone, rolling down Florin, not even giving a damn, and the highway patrol pulls me over and he's like, you're not. I said, oh hey, what's going on? How you doing? You just pulled over so and so over on Fruit Ridge, and I had to come and get the car. He said, "Oh yeah, you're the girlfriend who was cussing him." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, well, you know what? Don't be talking on your phone and go on and go." There's a few far in between, but not that many.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Less contact, better results.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I got a stellar track record with it, so I can talk the talk, but when it really comes down to it, I always handle myself how I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have no choice, because like you said before, you're a big guy, and they're
I gotta play the humble role.
They're intimidated, just first of all because you're black, and then secondly because you're 6'3". Okay.
Yeah.
Look at this big motherfucker right here.
Yeah.
Goddamn grizzly bear right here.
Yeah. And then it'd be times where it don't go as smoothly. And that's why I said, me personally, I know that it's just the wrong thing that could be said. And if I'm not in tune with myself, we got a problem. Like the time I got pulled over selling a car to the homie Woon, as a matter of fact. And drove back to the house. Then they were going to just take off in the car, but it's 4 of us in the car. And we pull up at the house, and the police just happen to be going the other way, and they bust a Huey, and they tripping. They got 3-4 other cars that pulled up. And at first, I'm just like, man, this is crazy. And so as they write me the ticket, and he come to the window, and I say, man, what's wrong? Y'all ain't got no other crimes to solve? I'm just talking shit. And he goes, this is how we find real crimes to solve. And that was all I needed to hear. And the whole rest of that interaction, with South. But again, I didn't do it in no threatening manner. You know what I mean? You can't take me to jail for telling you how I feel about what you do.
They can't.
But I didn't take it easy on them. They got called every thinkable name, and then after they wrote the ticket, what the hell is y'all still doing here? It can go south. And in this day and age, I think about that one all the time, because in this day and age,
they would have shot your ass.
It might have been RIP me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I've done a few dumb stunts myself. Shit. Hopped out as soon as they pulled up. I pulled in my driveway, and then they pulled right behind me, and I hop out. Like, what? I live here, motherfucker. Shit.
Yeah. See, I think, to me, I would never, I'm not just jumping out like that. No. No.
That is a don't do right there.
After I did it, I was like, is you trying to die today? But I had already did it. And then I'm like, I live here. I'm just getting off work. What?
Yeah. So um I don't know if everybody on the panel knows it, but crazy thing about the Tyree Nichols case, even though it took place in Memphis, he's a Sacramento native. You know, he's from Sacramento, so it got a lot of news coverage here in the city. They even had a little candlelight vigil for him out in the Thomas a few days back to honor his memory, and it's just crazy that, like we're talking about, you can be somebody who doesn't necessarily do the wrong thing and still wind up in a circumstance that ultimately costs you your life, you know.
Especially when you think about what you said about how the Californians are more likely to have
Mhm,
death by the police officer. So imagine escaping Sacramento and coming out alive. Just
mhm,
end up in Memphis where you get killed by the cops.
mhm,
A black cop.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And wasn't
mhm,
committing a crime at all.
mhm.
So I'm confused. What was his cause of death?
I don't
I believe he was in a coma
know.
for a couple of days. He was in a
His
coma for a couple
spinal
of
his
days.
spinal cord was broke.
Oh, so they must have been standing on him and shit like that.
Yeah, they was doing all of that, beating him all about the head. You know, they was hitting him with that baton all on his arms and in his back. You know, not the baton, but that retractable thing. They went in on him. You know, they went in on him. And the crazy part was, um, you know, it ain't been confirmed yet, but I clearly think I even thought it from the beginning. Like, man, what was they really mad at him about? You know,
Right.
like
Oh,
it just
it took
didn't
me two
seem,
seconds. 2
huh?
seconds when I seen him holding him and placing them shots.
It
I
didn't
said,
look
"Oh
like an
no,
arrest. Yeah,
yeah."
it
One of
looked
the
like
officers, he
something
one of
else.
the officers' old girl was messing with old boy.
Right, I know,
That's
but
what they say.
that
So
has
them
yet to be
shots they were
confirmed, though.
taking.
That's what I was just talking about. We ain't confirmed that yet, but that's something that's definitely been put out there, you know.
Okay, we
But
ain't confirmed it, but they supposedly confirmed that he sent her a picture of him laying on the ground. So it ain't too much confirming after that.
well,
Right.
no,
And
that's
they
what I'm
said that.
saying. When I say hasn't been confirmed, the family's lawyer ain't confirmed none of that. It don't matter what the whole rest of the internet talking about. The people right next to it ain't spoke on that. It's well, at least the last time I looked at it, which was the day before yesterday. So um, they know that he was taking pictures, but we don't know. We don't
So,
know if that stuff was really sent to that girl. All that stuff, yeah, like Niche
but
said,
it's, I mean, but
alleged.
how? So
Well,
so what are we gonna allege that he was even sleeping with her or that he even knew her? Because the connection is still like
Oh
hold
no,
up.
I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying I'm not gonna speak on it as from a place of confirmed fact, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
well, what has been confirmed as a fact is that he died. The independent autopsy discovered that it was extensive bleeding caused by severe beating.
hmm So he was probably bleeding internally and all kind of stuff. Cause yeah, I
He
mean,
was a skinny young man, and he looked like Nutty Professor when from that picture in the bed, or
he
Will
was
Smith.
unrecognizable in the picture. Yeah, for sure. It didn't even look like the same person, you know.
At all. He was
I
all
like hey,
puffy.
look. I'd like to get a hold of the officers.
No, for real. For real.
I
Yeah.
like
Yes,
to get my
that's
hands
what I
on
said.
them.
They need to get their asses beat just like that.
Right.
Well, I also seen that they were part of a fraternity, and the fraternity kicked them out. They're no longer can be members. I thought that to be just so ridiculous because you join those fraternities as supposed to be a brotherhood and stuff like that, or to love your community, to show, it's go blacks, but
But
that's
they was deboing people anyway, and they was going around messing with all kinds. They were like
a special task force.
yeah, and they was going
It was
around
like that
messing with
Rampart
people
shit
all
in
the
LA.
time.
That
hmm
Rampart scandal that they had in LA. Them fools was like a full-fledged gang on the streets.
Yeah, that's what it be a lot of times. You know, like I said, the gang members with a
With
badge.
badges.
Yeah,
Mhm.
their activity is legalized. That's the only real difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we seen that, like what they was doing to him. I've seen that before. You know, and it wasn't the police doing it. That's why I was like, damn, what's really going on here? Like this is animosity.
Yes. I
That
knew the way
they
that
was
I was
taking
like,
them
there's
And
no
shots.
he was
way.
80 feet from his own house. Okay, that's the fucked up part about it.
The way
That's
they
why
was
he was
taking
calling
them-
for his mom because they said he was less. They said he was less than 100 yards away from, and he was hoping that she would hear him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
crazy.
That was the hard part for me right there. Like, damn, that he was really in distress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were called
So
the
you did watch the video?
I had been watched it.
I
Yeah,
can't watch it because it I can't watch it.
I didn't I seen the part where they was holding him and punching him. And that was pretty much all I needed to see because when you ever seen some shit like that?
yeah. That's why I said they were not trying to get him in handcuffs.
Right.
Yeah,
No, they were trying to take him out.
They was
yeah.
I thought he was in handcuffs though when he
Oh
started.
no, in the part by his house he was, but there was
Okay.
it was stages to it though. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm
it
saying?
was.
Like they were really whooping on him, and he managed to peel up out, and
He's like, okay, man, okay,
he
okay,
ran.
okay.
That's how it wound up. The second part of the encounter was down the street from his house because he was trying to run to get to his house. Yeah. Yeah, but he broke though, and then they shot the taser at him, and I think they said one of them hit him or something, but he was out of there. And I mean, like he got further. They had to catch up with him.
and what's
Maybe he recognized that guy. Maybe he recognized the boyfriend guy or whatever.
that's
He's
what
like,
you know he did. He had to have. So here's the part that trips me out, right? They tell people to just cooperate. A lot of people, oh, just cooperate. Man, if somebody's beating the shit out of you, your first response is flight.
right.
Flight or
So
fight.
I will say this because again, we talking about avoiding the police at all costs. To any young men out there, if you find yourself involved or even thinking about being involved with a woman and her ex-boyfriend, baby daddy, whoever is a police, I would strongly advise that you end that interaction just because the mindset of the people we talking about,
Yeah, he could kill,
I
he
wouldn't
literally kill
suggest
you
you
and
do
get away with it.
it.
Yeah.
Just for the
Mhm.
police period, because lady cop did the same thing to a woman that was messing with her man. So
Mhm.
just all the police think they have the right.
Mhm.
Do you think we'll see any traction in any of the other cases that have been outstanding or ongoing where the officers haven't been arrested? Do you think we'll see any changes with that?
I
I
hope
think it's a
so.
luck of the draw. Sometimes they run it, sometimes they don't. You know what I mean?
What about the fact some people say that like Bill or Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, they only show up as publicity stunts? Do you believe that they really want to help the community in situations like this too?
Ben Crump, I don't know. He seems to take a genuine approach to helping people, and
Mhm.
But he
he,
doesn't do nothing small.
well, I mean, rightfully so, because somebody got to do the big stuff, and if the big stuff he's taking is the cases like this, and the Trayvon Martin, and the Breonna Taylors, and all that.
And Ahmad Rashad too.
Yeah,
Ahmad
somebody got to
Rashad.
step up um to the plate and do that. Somebody got to handle it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate. Like the only reason I respect Al Sharpton only because for him to be dedicating his time and to black issues for 40 years, 30, 40 years. I mean, that in itself is more than a lot of us are doing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
I agree.
I'll acknowledge his presence. I can't say that is synonymous with respect, though. Because of what I had mentioned before. I don't know. I think somebody can be be present at all the right moments, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their efforts are worthy of respect. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Because could be a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like oh Jesse.
Yeah, but they was trying to lock up them brothers too, though.
I get it. Yeah.
Jesse
I
and
mean, what are you talking about? The officers involved?
no, I'm saying Jesse and Al was both getting locked up like crazy back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back in the day.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about if what's on the table is I'm finna get arrested tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what's your traffic violation? What they're gonna do? They're gonna charge you with disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, or whatever. Let me just go on ahead and go to jail, or should I act the ass and then increase my chances of getting brutalized and possibly killed? You know what I mean? Like sometimes the bigger thing is to just go on ahead and put your hands behind your back.
Right.
It's the bigger battle.
Let them have their little bitch ass time.
Yeah, because it's temporary at best, you know.
Do you believe that marching changes things?
I don't. I think what I do appreciate about marches is that it's a demonstration of human beings' ability to unify, to unite, to come together for one particular purpose. But when the march is over, everybody gets back to self. And I just really think that united minds, if we had a union of mind throughout humanity, a lot of the problems that we deal with, they wouldn't even exist. But it's always momentary. We're going to get together for this march, this million-man march, this march to protest. You know, everybody is able to come together for a moment in time, only to go right back to what we've already deemed as chaotic.
And even worse, as far as the million-man march goes, our communities are 10 times worse than they was when that march got held.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the takeaway wasn't strong enough. The people being a part of that moment was enough of a takeaway for the people that were there, instead of trying to bring something back.
I agree, because I marched. I
because I was
during
there.
the pandemic. When they had all the marches going on and we were in Atlanta, I did get the chance to march, and it felt good. But like you said, afterwards, where was the footwork? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Other than what I'm doing in my home. Yeah. Other than what I was doing in my home, trying to make the kids aware of that kind of stuff. What has actually happened? That's why I was thinking. Also, we need more Black leaders. We need more leaders who are educated in Black history, in cultivating different mindsets as a people, knowing the worth of our inner, our being centered and believing in energy and what we put out, and holding ourselves to a higher echelon of calibers of values and stuff like that. So I think we do need role models, leaders. I don't know what to call them, activists, but we need more of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know one thing for myself. I had said this before, that I'm going to start learning a new word every day, because my vocabulary is not that. I'm not nowhere near illiterate, but my vocabulary is not strong, because I stumble over my words, but then I forget stuff too, though. But I'm going to start doing that so that I'm able to come across more like I know what I'm talking about, because I know a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of stuff that, I watch nothing but educational stuff on my TV or my phone all the time. So
that's why I get exactly what you're saying, because I'll be forgetting sometimes. I could forget mid-sentence of
man. I do it.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, and exactly, like, where in the hell was I going with that? So
Man,
I agree. As long as we continue to challenge ourselves, and one of the good points that Valley made earlier about utilizing the World Wide Web. Don't get the sources I got, but you know,
well, you just can't just check one source. You got, because they got a whole bunch of sources from just that one. You know, so you got to check them all.
Right. So I mean, but doing research and having a knowledge, because it is quote unquote Black History Month. Let's find, you know, we got to know some things about our history. I think that it's important for everybody individually to know stuff and share stuff and learn stuff.
I think that's what our next show should be. You know, we should pick we should all pick a couple of people that we feel were prominent figures of our history, and let it be known to our followers that are following us.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think it would be good for us to share some positive information that people wouldn't otherwise have. Yeah, that would be good.
Most definitely.
Because we're sharing the information, we're educating each other, we're educating our viewers. There are viewers could educate us on some stuff we don't know.
Yeah, because what I might know, you might not know, and what you know, I might not know.
Yeah.
So I think.
And I know that you know that I know that
you know that I know.
You know that I know that I'm hungry.
Oh man, yeah, most definitely. That's something we can discuss on how to work that into not just the next show, but I think that might be a good addition for every episode. You know, to have a segment dedicated to just a short piece of history that.
I think that's a good idea. Also,
that is.
Yeah.
Khalil Willis has a question. It says, "How do you guys feel about the concept of Black History Month in general?"
I don't want it.
Fuck you, because it's more than just 1 month of the year. Okay.
When it's White History Month.
Yeah.
That's 24/7.
When is Asian History Month?
When is Jewish History Month? No, but seriously, I get it though. If we're talking about, you know, accepting it, if we're talking about accepting it, then it's like, come on, man, a month, you gonna give me a crumb? But the whole thing is, we have to get outside of that. What you gonna give me? It's always Black history in my mind.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not even waiting on them to say it, you know. But if this is the month that more Black people are in tune with a particular message, sure, I'll take advantage of that. But shit, it's always Black history in my mind.
Okay, I thought about it for a second. This is how I feel about Black History Month. If we really gonna take Black History Month serious, no nigga gets to kill another nigga in February.
Well, yeah, see, but here's the thing though. We can't even say nigga now.
Right.
For God's sakes, we got to give more power to the people. Nice background. Yeah.
It isn't correct to say it, but now we don't mean it like how they mean it when they say it.
It don't matter.
Well, I didn't want to say no brother can kill another brother because, you know, motherfuckers don't even want to be brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, in order for that to even look right in our own minds, words matter. Like, what is the picture we paint out in our own minds simply by using a certain term? That's all I was getting at. You know?
Okay, so no brother can kill another brother in the month of February.
See? Sounds a little bit different. Yeah. But we already know that ain't gonna happen though, you know.
We know
so
we go further.
It already happened, you know.
Right now, as we speaking, somebody is killing another Black man right now.
We can only start with the people in the mirror.
Real talk.
Yeah, you know, we got to start with them.
We can start by accordingly acting disgusted by the behaviors in our community. We have the right to be disgusted.
No, that's not.
Well, we are disgusted. We definitely are disgusted. Yeah.
But that's like old boy in The movie where he makes the little and Tales from the Hood. What was his name?
Crazy
You
Cat.
talking about the one that had? There's a lot of people in that movie. What you talking about?
The old black dude.
Oh, when he was the
At the
devil.
funeral home?
Huh?
When they had the funeral home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now,
hey, Ma, you done got ultra serious since you changed your background.
ah,
Hey, I was trying to find a
Sitting over
fist
there
right
like-
now. I was trying to find a fist. That's what I was looking for.
Oh man.
Man, they really hated the Black Panthers though. They had to make sure they took them all the way out, okay, of the game. Man.
Okay. What happened to these?
I'm right here.
Oh, who ended the broadcast?
No, it's still going.
It's still going on.
Yeah.
You tapped out. I didn't know what was going on. Okay. It says, yeah, I appreciate the general effort, maybe, but even that feels like a cover-up sometimes. 1 month out of the year is crazy, but like you said, if it gets other blacks to come together for a period of time, it's good. And I think that's the thing about it. You know, some people that aren't typically open to the ideas of self-empowerment, they still need Black History Month. There's others like us that's like, I'm not waiting until February. It's June or it's April, and I have this thought about uncovering something in history that I think might help me to remember who I am as an individual. You know what I mean? Why do I got to wait till February? But when February rolls around, I'm not going to bash everybody that's saying it's Black History Month, because now that's an open opportunity to add more, you know, to link in with people that otherwise ain't even hearing the conversation. You see what I mean? Yeah. That's just how I look at it.
Well, I think it's time to start this organization, this a nonprofit
movement
organization or something like that, or a foundation of some sort. Because I can think of many ways that I can implement some things. And like I said, I got a little rougher edge, but a lot of that is just me blowing steam at the same time. But I'm fed up I'm fed up with the police brutality, but I'm nowhere near as fed up with the police brutality as I am with the black on black brutality.
Yes, I agree, Javon.
I know you are, and I agree with you also on that. It's definitely something that has to be addressed. And so, if it takes us coming up with some programs or some ways and ideas and forming some type of business, nonprofit or something, because we do have to start within. It's going to take us, just like we jumped out and did the show. What can we do community based to make a difference?
And ain't none of us know spring chicken, so the time is now. Shit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why I said, somehow, some way, get a hold of those educational things, and they need to be played in the park. Put out flyers. Come join us today and get some education for our Black people.
If you think about the Panthers, that's how it started. They say, we having this meeting, come down to this meeting. We having this meeting, So let's get back to the basics. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
We got to put in the footwork. We can't just be talking about it. We got to be about it. But we got first, and like you said earlier, we got to be about it with ourselves. Everything starts first with us. And if we can't back it up with our own, there it goes, lost it. But anyway.
Yeah. Cold as ice. So look, I hear what y'all saying, but I think sometimes we have to turn off the visual and just look at reality, because there's plenty of people that are putting out the flyer saying come here, but it's a flyer on a social media page. Is it any different? You know what I mean? I could go on my Instagram right now and find countless people they pump out this information. Do we have to see it in person in order to take advantage of it. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, that shit is readily available. But you know, oftentimes, like how
But
we talked about before, if we're not careful enough to filter our social media, then those type of things are going to get lost in the algorithm because there's so much more other stuff that's crowding it out. You know
He
what I
ain't
mean?
lying. He ain't
Yeah.
lying.
but
Mhm.
for a youngster that doesn't know no better and ain't never been taught nothing, then how are they going to see it? Because they
Right. And I think we have an
without-
obligation to be teachers. We just said ourselves we have an obligation to be teachers. So
Mhm. If the
yeah.
youngsters don't know and ain't been taught, we're failing.
Right.
well, it needs to be taught in schools, and that's never going to happen because the daughters
It
of
needs to be taught
Confederate.
in homes. It needs to be taught in homes, in our communities, in our
School-
houses. That's
That's
School is
where
it.
it's
just a
going to be
means to
taught.
an end. It's got to
School
start
is
at
a
home.
professional place, and Black history. Who are we to say that we need to have the forefront of the school education system for our personal social needs in our communities? Because it's not, the school is only going to be how much percent Black anyway.
Well, no, I'm saying in schools because they teaching us all that all that stuff when
Oh my God, we're gonna get our broadcast is gonna get blocked.
Right, right.
Oh, Jesus.
I caught myself. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think that still has to start at home. You know,
Right.
It does have to
and
start at
and
home.
and not just home in the house, but home in our community. You know what I mean? Like Auntie D said, we need more community centers and mentors, and I strongly agree with that. However, I don't want. I'm tired of seeing community centers that's like we're running this sport, and man,
Let's
sit
start
down
our
with all of
own.
that. Sit
I think
down with all of that.
our own.
Because,
Right.
be-
Well, I like the
no,
idea of a school of the arts, and part of that we have cultural things that go on as well. So it's art.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get
Well,
this.
not necessarily just because it's cultural, but because when you start talking about arts,
No.
you're tapping into your creativity, and that's good for a young person. You know, sure you can tap into athletic ability through sports, but it doesn't give them the same level of internal aspects of themselves as arts would. That's what you, so
That's right.
your
Right.
mention of that to me, that should be on the forefront before we say, come play basketball with us, come sign up on this football team. Man, to hell with all that. That's been
Right.
decades.
Use your
But it's not no
use your
guarantee that
natural
you're going to
given
become a
talent.
pro.
You have
And
a
besides-
God-given talent. Let's tap into it.
Those
Right.
athletes go through the same troubles that we do. They're targeted because they got money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Woon say art is a reflection of the spirit. And that's why I think that's an important part of the teaching process with a child, because it helps them to take an internal look at themselves versus saying, how do I fit in with what's going on around me? Because that's what sports do. You have to fit into a degree. School, you have to fit into a degree. Work, you have to fit into a degree. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that's causing you to circle back and look at you. Even in religion, you got to fit in to a degree. We've gone so far away from knowing ourselves. The only degree we want to know ourselves is to how well we fit in with what's going on around us. And that's part of the reason why we see the chaos we do.
Right.
Nobody knows who the hell they are.
Khalil checked me. Because
I know one thing. I was in a court order program before, and they had sent people to talk to us in this program, different people who were of different color and race in different positions, to let us know that you can be anything you want. And that's what kids need, to make a joke of that. And, it's how Snoop Dogg says, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. A little boy's, no, I want to be just like old boy handing on the corner. We gotta let them see that they can be a whole bunch of everything, that the world is theirs.
You can be anything. You can be and do anything that you put your mind to, and of course,
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
within reason. And I know that we all heard those kind of statements coming up, but I think what was lacking is the actual complete breakdown of what that means, to put your mind to something, to understand that you have the ability to manifest your will into reality if you can focus your mind on the things that will bring you to that reality. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than saying, oh, I hope this happens, and I make it happen. Manifest your will into reality. We have the ability to do that. And that's why when you mention art, I think that's one of the key ways for somebody to learn that. Like, man, this was nothing more than a figment of my imagination.
Right.
And look what it is now.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
I've always been interested in doing the School of the Arts. I love that idea, and because art covers so many different forms of it, whether it be music, whether it be
I'm with
painting,
you on that, Moon.
where you know, and to
Okay,
have
hold
somebody
on.
to understand.
Because we skipped over Khalil's comment. We got to address that one before we jump
Okay,
to Woon's comment.
go ahead.
In Atlanta, schools talked about blacks a lot more than here in Cali. Kids spend a lot of time at school, and what they soak up while they're there is a huge effect on everyone's future, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably because of what I said when I said fuck teaching all that shit in school. But so he kind of like clarified that that's a good place to throw it in. So maybe Kasavi's right when she says that. Maybe it does need to be implemented a little more in the schools.
No, but
I wasn't disagreeing with that.
Because I think it goes hand in hand with the School of the Arts, or the type of schooling that we're actually giving the kids, the type of schools that they go to. Because I think it's significant for him to point out that in California they teach it less, so that means we need to feed it some more. That's an area that can use it. I think they
California is one of the highest rates of police brutality on Black people too.
California is the highest prison in the country. The prison has
exactly. So look at the bigger picture. Of course, I mean, being that's where we're from, then that's where we should. Those are our communities.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. See, and that's what I was getting at when I was saying, like, the part that we all missed out on was the explanation of it. We had to go through life and figure out what the hell that meant on our own. But the only reason why is because the people that were telling us, they didn't know either. They just knew it sounded good. It felt right. It resonated with them. But I can't explain what it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's only one old nephew.
Read that point.
It says you can do anything you put your mind to. It's an extremely vague statement. Actually breaking it down and even showing that to younger people can and would help a lot more.
Right. That's the whole point that I was making when I mentioned that. It's not enough to say it. You gotta explain it to them, unpack it in a way that they see it as reality, because that's what it is. It's the reality of humankind. If you really get your mind in tune and focused on whatever it is you're trying to do, it'll become your reality.
Well, just like Nipsey said, the only distinguishing quality he had is he never gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Bullshit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you don't know that. That's why I don't necessarily believe in the word manifestation, because I've done enough things in my life to know that if you just stick with it, that's the manifestation. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it means, though.
Yeah.
I think what happens is people use the word so loosely that they think, oh, well, yeah, it's just me. I'm going to manifest this. There's this effort, intense effort, and like spiritual level shit that's involved with that. It's not just as simple as saying it, but I think most people
you have to breathe it in. You have to breathe it in. You have to inhale. You have to exhale. You have to continuously think on that, ponder on that success, on that energy, on that positivity.
To the point that it affects your actions.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny when people be like, yeah, manifestation, all that shit's crazy. But let a nigga say karma. Everybody and their mama gonna go along with that. So we can accept the reality of manifesting negative things into reality, but not positive. That just goes to show how our minds have been influenced.
Yes.
Yeah. So just to highlight this right here, he says, right, I just put out a children's book, Blew Motherfuckers' Minds, LOL. And it's crazy because I remember him talking about this like a couple years back, you know what I mean? And then it finally came to fruition. But behind the scenes, what we couldn't see, it was all kind of steps being made for this book to come to what was once simply in his mind now exists in reality.
Yes, he can hold it. He can touch it. He can touch it. He can feel it.
So since we know we got Wound listening, when we gonna put together some of these documentaries, bruh?
I want to go ride in the car.
He said it's time to pull that camera out. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, well, that's like when you pray as well. People pray for something and think it's magically going to happen, but you need to take steps and put in work as well, similar to manifesting. And
that's the key.
That I think that right there is the key. Like you said, that unlocks it all. That's kind of how we know that it all comes back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's really an entity in the sky and I pray to him for something, why on earth would I have to do all the work to bring it to fruition? See, I think that's another topic. We'll talk about
it. Definitely another topic, but
but there's something to chew on, though. You know,
it takes prayer.
Well, it's just like if you say, "Oh, I'm gonna be a professional basketball player," but you never play basketball. You can pray all day that you reach that goal and that dream, but if you never pick that ball up, you're never gonna fucking make it.
Right.
You got change that goal. Got.
Oh, it's too late now.
He said, but we get it for sure. I got some really ideas.
You over here trying to edit the comments. Oh,
I was trying to get what I'm working on now is getting a drone because I want to be able to get some cinematic quality footage. So I'm working on getting a real high-tech drone, a camera. Obviously, I got a movie type microphone already.
I know someone who can do those drones that can put the cameras on it.
No, the drone I'm talking about is set. I ain't got to do nothing but turn that damn thing on and fly it. You know what I'm saying?
And get that good footage.
It's the most top of the line drone basically out right now. So that's what I'm working on now.
I wish I had a drone so I could find out
do my part, whatever I got to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's get it cracking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all.
I got some ideas for some documentaries too. Shoot.
Nah, I ain't quitting. I'm not quitting. Tucson. You're not stopping the Brock.
I'm hungry. I'll just tap out for a minute and go heat up my food and then come back in. How about that? No, I love our conversations. I mean, I love them a lot, and I'm glad that we do this, but I am hungry.
So I just want to take a moment because we always remember at the end for anybody who chimed in, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe.
Absolutely.
I got a video camera.
Mm-hmm. Good looking out, man. You know, I like I said, I'll make a mental note and then.
Hey, it goes across the bottom. It goes across the bottom.
Look, I forgot to even do that this time, you know.
Like, share, subscribe. Our YouTube channel's down on the bottom. You know, we're just out here trying to get everything out. Congratulations, you guys. This was our 7th show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hey, you know, it doesn't even feel like it.
And for those who are watching, you could word of mouth is also good. hey, chime in on check out
Yeah.
folks' podcast on Sundays. Word of mouth is good too.
Hmm. Yeah. Just to make sure that we close out at least with some level of substance. I do think that we had I think we covered all the points that were probably necessary for the police brutality discussion. Um, we
Shout out to
mentioned.
my niece and nephew too that chimed in today. Love you guys.
I'm so happy.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you guys.
for cutting you off,
Huh?
Valley.
No, it's all good. I just was saying, I think we had a well-rounded conversation about the topic and addressing it from a standpoint, understanding that there's work to be done on our part to better our outcomes with these interactions or to avoid them altogether. Sure, they're accountable for the things they do, but we recognize there's work to be done on our end of the spectrum as well.
Stop the violence. Starting with a stop the violence community campaign, including a community center and a place of the arts where people can go and escape the streets and the street life and the negativity that's going on in our communities. All these things have to happen ASAP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
Well, I know when we was younger, when we would go to Pasadena to visit our dad, and our stepmother would take us on walks with the elderly ladies around the Rose Bowl. That was good stuff too, because you got insight from all different ages, and that was a good thing. We haven't done that since then, but
Mhm.
that's a good thing too. And also you got exercise.
ah!
I just said that because your boy said he got an hour's worth of walking in.
She said you can be anything you want to be, just please don't become a cop. Laugh out loud, just saying.
I feel it. I feel it. Not even top flight security of the world, Craig.
Especially, y'all hear me? Please, especially
Top flight to get
top flight
slapped.
of security.
Top flight gonna get
Really gonna
smoked.
be in bad shape.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Woon. I just want to give congratulations. I know I didn't did it on a personal level, but while we on the platform, again, when we was talking about manifesting, the boy sat in his own mind and cooked up a whole children's book, and it's out and available for purchase.
That is great.
That is beautiful.
What's the name of the book? What's the name of the book?
Go Out and Play. So it's just
what we heard all the time. Take your ass outside.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's trying to get the broadcast.
What's funny is
Chris.
What are you doing?
What's funny is my oldest daughter. She's always telling me, "Mom." She's always shooting ideas to me about something, because I just, that girl's, her mind never stops. Okay, never stops. And she had pitched that one to me, and I'm like, oh, nah. But that is something that I have thought about, but I don't know. I got to put my artistic abilities back in play, because I do have some talent on that one.
Each and every creature, every living being has a talent. Everybody has a talent. So a God-given talent, or a internal, something that they are born with.
It's up to us to tap into whatever that is, and sometimes it ain't just one thing.
No.
Yeah.
Just like a little kid that might be tearing shit up. Like, I know a little boy who used to tear stuff up all the time just to see how it worked. He's an engineer, really. He's
right.
For real.
Yes.
I kind of want to get out of the habit of I think another thing our people do wrong is it's become a rapper, singer, entertainer, actor, comedian, this, everything under the sun except for a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist. Like, I feel like we're leaving out a lot of the important positions that people play in society, and we're just all our dreams and aspirations are shooting towards things that
gets money fast.
that gets exactly. We don't want to have any Joe Blow. We don't want to be veterinarians. We don't want to be, we don't want to be anything but some slick, fast, get money getting type of person.
I would say that even though there's truth to that statement, I don't think that there's enough of that to really say that that's how people view it as a whole, because there are black doctors, lawyers. We know that kind of thing exists, but it's not one that's glamorized because of the level of commitment that goes along with it. So
it should be glamorized.
Really, what comes, I think that what's at the heart of that is what I'm trying to get out of my damn mouth. What's at the heart of that is an unwillingness to commit to things long term with the goal of yielding a result at the end of that commitment. That's why people are more apt to run toward things that can, fast money, fast results, fast money, because we lack the willingness to commit to things long term.
Well, you don't see on the reality show where it's kids going to school or kids in college, real life with that.
There's been reality shows up specifically about kids going to college, but there's also been a different world of kids going to college. So we have seen it, but we just don't see enough of it. Like Tavon was saying, it's not enough of it for us to see. And I think it is important that we're doctors, that we're lawyers, and that we share that it's okay to be that, because that's what's going to be the glue of the community, is when somebody who can build a house, somebody who can work on a car, somebody who can go to court with, someone who can help you with your taxes, know all kinds of, we need everybody to do those different fields. We need that.
It's okay to be smart is what it comes down to.
Also farmers and blacksmiths and those type of people are needed also, that we don't put into play either. That those people, people who work with their hands that make things happen also are very much needed, because that's what makes the world go round.
Well, see, that's the thing. People talk about everybody being bosses and entrepreneurs and this, that, and the other. And I think
not everybody's boss mentality.
It wouldn't matter if you was. This system is not, it will crumble upon itself if nobody plays the part of consumer, period. Or we'll have to eradicate, the currency system and go back to bartering goods for goods. If everybody owns a Walmart, who's shopping at Walmart?
Right.
Somebody got to do the stuff that don't nobody want to do. Somebody got to clean the bathrooms. Somebody got to get out there and build the fences. Everybody can't be all up at the top.
Well, when we start showing respect for the CEO and for the janitor, that's when it's good. Because, like you said, sometimes people don't want to be those things because they're not glamorized. But if we start treating people with respect all across the board, no matter what they do, then that's, then people won't be ashamed to do it. You got to treat everybody equally, because everybody plays a part. They're all important.
That comes down to the union of the minds that I was talking about earlier. Do we see ourselves collectively as a body or just as individuals? You know what I mean? My pinky toenail should be just as important as the lips on my face, the brain in my head, It's not like, oh, that's just my pinky toenail. It don't matter. Because if we're looking at everything from a body perspective, then that person that's building the fences is equally important as the person who's putting together the schematics to build this skyscraper. It's all the
same person like who drew the blueprint.
For the collective interest. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I agree with you.
He says we need to bring back bartering. And that's what happens in other races, and that stick together. They barter their what they can help each other. Okay, you could do this.
Services. They barter their services.
Yeah,
that's why because restaurants
the need for currency.
Yes.
Yeah, it removes the need for currency, and if we're being honest, currency was was derived for that purpose. You know, I'm somebody who doesn't have anything, any service, any good to offer you. So I'm gonna make up this particular thing and say it's some sort of good and get what you have for myself, you know.
Hey, I could start a fucking YouTube series with that drone following the
Hey, look, hey, if we keep it at 100, there's hella people on YouTube that literally go around and they call out the police on their bullshit. So like, yeah, if me flying a drone in public area is legal and the police, yeah, that's one way to do it. Shit, follow their ass around.
I'm about to eat though.
Okay. I like this one. You got to know your position and play it. The body functions on organs, therefore organized. I feel that. Yeah. I feel I like to play on words.
Right.
It was dope.
Yeah.
A little bit of poetry.
Damn, it'd be hard. They'd be gone. Something niche said that. Oh, that's what it was right here. I don't know if anybody highlighted this or not, but it was a while back.
I put it up there.
Okay, this is manifesting, you know, because this whole show was just a figment of our imagination at one point in time as well. So,
correct.
You know, what seems to be a figment of our imagination. What seems to be a figment of our imagination on how to police our own communities. Let's manifest that. Let's bring that to reality as well.
So like you said, we already came up with one solution, you know, starting a nonprofit and getting a community center going and you know, tapping into people's artistic abilities. And, you know, we've already come up with some ideas just by simply having a show covering the topic. And I'm dead serious about that community shit though, because I feel like I got a different take because I've played so deeply in the field of it all.
Yeah.
People that know me know I ain't lying, but somebody on the outside looking in, I might come off as square, I might come off as militant or an asshole or whatever, but it's only because, like I said earlier, I'm fed up. And so when you become fed up, things have a sour taste in your mouth, you know. And
well, that's when change comes. Anyway.
Yeah, I just
when you get fed up, it pushes you to change. So I'm glad that you're fed up. Everybody, we're all fed up, and it forces us to change some things.
Yeah. Well, I think it's safe to say we can go ahead and start our approach to the close. I mean, we had a great conversation.
I ain't talking.
Look, we had a great conversation. However,
Mama will be proud of us.
So yeah, we appreciate everybody.
Yeah, Mama will be proud of us.
Tapping in. Love you, Mama. Yeah. It helps to have a good interaction. I mean, a good conversation to be able to interact with y'all. So shout out to everybody in the chat that tapped in and gave some input. We appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it.
With that being said, we will catch y'all on the next go round.
See you next week.
Ooh.